And what I've discovered since the late 1990s is that there has been actually a slip in the number of people who identify that American dream, that traditional materialism, as theirs. It's down, in fact, to only 27% of American adults. And that the group of American dreamers that is climbing from 32 to 35, our latest 42%, a group that I call the secular spiritualists, who are saying, in effect, I don't want my life to be defined by what I own, or my finances, or the quality of my home, or where I vacation, or my position in the company. I want something larger than me, something in a spiritual sense, something that is fulfilling, that makes my mark here on this earth. And that secular spiritualism is a critical thing to understand. There are four sources to it. The first are the growing number of Americans that work at a job that pays less than their previous job. Very, very important development. When I first started tracking this in my polls in the late 1980s, it was 14% of American adults. Just prior to this Great Recession, it was 27% of American adults. It has just hit 30%. Working at a job that pays less than a previous job. That has forced many in this group to rethink their priorities in life, to value the dollar that they earn, to reduce their financial expectations, to spend on quality items, but quality items that are more affordable. This is a long-term trend that has been developing. There's a second source of secular spiritualism, and that is on the other end of the financial spectrum, those Americans who have genuinely made it, who have succeeded quite well financially, but have come to the grips with the fact that this is not how they want to be known or defined. I want to be known for more, or I want my life to be more than chasing new products. Do I really need the latest iteration of the iPhone? It did not make me a better person when I got the last one 6 months ago. Do I need to build a 3,000 square foot addition to my home? I can't enjoy the square footage that I have right now. These are people who are changing their priorities. There's a third source of this secular spiritualism, and that is we baby boomers, born between roughly 1946, 1964. 78 million of us. So much has been made about us. We've come to believe it all and made so much about ourselves. But we're a group in our 50s, in our 60s, who have are at a critical crossroads in our life. One aspect of that crossroads is that we're going to be the first age group that will have 1 million of us achieve the age of 100. Meaning, as we're in our 50s and 60s and contemplating the next stage of our life, what are we supposed to do for the next 30 to 35 years of healthy living? There's got to be more than golf and shuffleboard. That's good enough for the first 3 weeks. But then what? And there's this wonderful term that I wish I had coined. It's a term originated by a great American historian, Robert Fogel, who calls it an era of vol work. I want something larger than myself. I want vol as in volunteer. I want to pick and choose what I do, how much time I spend doing it. Even if I continue working, earn work, which many of us are going to have to do because of the economy and our IRA packages. The fact of the matter is that we will still have choices that abound. And lastly, this is so important for people to understand because the tens of millions of Americans that have adopted this secular spiritualism are not headlines in the newspaper. The story about Americans is that we're selfish and wasteful. And the truth is, as I've discovered in my polls, Americans are not only ready to make sacrifices, they actually have been making sacrifices. We recycle our trash. No one said it was possible, but in the 1980s we revolutionized our lives. We've stopped, to a great degree, smoking. We've made that sacrifice. We've stopped littering to a great degree. If there is a cause that is larger than ourselves, if there's leadership that can package it and sell it to us, and if we're sure that everybody else is playing by the same rules, we'll make those sacrifices. And so we are now moving into a new phase where Americans more and more are recognizing we're not the only people on this earth. There are others, and how we live has an impact on the rest of this planet. And so the group that will lead this charge, this new era of both secular spiritualism and of planetary sensibility, are the group that I call the First Globals, so the First Global Citizens. 18 to now 30 years old, because it's been a year since I've read the books, we're going to push them in there. Just listen to this. Americans only. And then I'll get into Europeans and Latin Americans. Americans only for now. 56% of our 18 to 30-year-olds have a passport, have traveled abroad. How many? 56%. And growing. And growing. 23% of our 18 to 30-year-olds say, I expect, not hope or wish, I expect to live and work in a foreign capital at some point in my life. When we ask them, who are your friends? We used to get as a response, oh, the people that I socialize with on weekends, the people that I attend class with, those who I work with that I meet socially after work. Today, friends are my network. And who is my network? My network includes someone in Thailand, and someone in Brazil, someone in Paris. It's amazing. When we ask young people in America, no prompts, just open-ended, tell me what America will look like 20 years from now. The number one answer 2.5 years ago was Barack Obama. Recognizing that not only does this group understand that the demographics of the United States are changing, the demographics of their world is changing, but they're making that change because that's who their friends, that's who their network is. What do they talk about? Global sports, global music, global fashion. What do they share? They share this with people all over. This is hot off the press, so I'm going to read it. These are recent polls that we've taken worldwide. 30% of 18 to 30-year-olds throughout Latin America, 30% in Latin America, say, I'm a resident of the planet Earth. That's the number 2 response after they say that I'm a resident of my nation. 30%. 70% of 18 to 30-year-olds in the UK, Spain, Italy, Germany, France expect to move to another country to live at some point in their lives. 45% in those same 5 European countries are fluent in at least 2 languages. 90% of 18 to 30-year-olds, 90% in those 5 countries, UK, Spain, Italy, Germany, France, use the internet 2 to 4 hours a day, half of that time spent on social networks.